Welcome to Season 12 of the Marrow Masters podcast, brought to you by the National Bone Marrow Transplant Link. This season focuses on one critical question. I'm home. Now what? You'll hear candid stories and advice from survivors and caregivers.
Physically, it's like in the morning, just getting myself down the stairs into the kitchen so that I can eat breakfast. Forget about it. I would get to the kitchen. I would sit down and I would stare at the refrigerator. It's like, how am I going to get to the refrigerator?
When you're in getting the transplant, you're in a very protected environment. And then coming home, the adjustment to not being able to have people over, your everyday habits, you have to rethink them. I think I found myself underestimating what my body went through.
There were a lot of things that were really exciting about being home. There were some things that were scary, like being so far from the hospital, and also just some transitions back to what had been normal, what had been home, and discovering some things were a little different once we jumped back in.
To have this happen to me was the punch in the gut that I was unexpected. Cancer is a chapter in my life. Mm-hmm. It is something that I have to go through. It is a process that I'm having to deal with. It defined me for the moment that I'm in it, but it doesn't define my future. I had to stay focused on life. And if I'm being given a second opportunity for life, I'm still above ground. I'm still flourishing. I'm still thriving.
This season, you'll also get valuable advice from a registered dietitian and a social worker.
You are going to be at a higher risk for developing foodborne illness after your transplant because your immune system is going to be suppressed because we're trying to recreate that immune system, basically. So we need to be careful. Normally, our bodies can take care of little bacteria and stuff that enter when we're normally healthy. Well, after a transplant, that's not the case. And so that's why we need to be a little bit more vigilant.
Certainly in that first 3 to 4 months after transplant, often the focus is really on the physical symptoms. But once people have moved past that acute phase, they really are able to reflect more on the emotional part of the experience. And that can sometimes bring forth, a lot of the feelings that we've already mentioned: anxiety, grief, fear, sadness, anger. It is very, very important for you to talk with your medical provider about any mood or sleep changes that you're experiencing, because those things are treatable. You don't need to suffer.
Season 12 of the Marrow Masters podcast, sponsored by Sanofi, is out December 19th. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe to our show for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or on our website, nbmtlink.org.